right after, to me, right after a spring break, I feel like everything's just, it hits hard, so. Next Tuesday? Okay. I think so. I'm glad you. Is it 6 yet? Almost. Got 6 o'clock yet? Yes. Oh, no, we got 1 minute. We'll begin momentarily. Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank you all for attending our April meeting for Clint ISD, the best school district in the state of Texas. Okay, at this time, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Mr. Gardell, would you please call the roll of members and determine whether a quorum is present?
Yes, sir. Will members please state present as your name is called? Mr. James Pendle?
Present.
Mr. Rocky Cruz?
Present.
Miss Mary Macias?
Present.
Miss Isela Torres? Miss Yvonne Shea?
Present.
Miss Claudia Marquez? And I'm Eric Gardea, present. President Pendle, we do have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Gardell. Let the record reflect we do have a quorum present. Join us at the table. We're happy to have with us our superintendent, Dr. Juan Martinez, members of the administrative cabinet in the front of the room. Thank you all for being here, and administrators around the room. Thank you all for being here as well. Okay, at this time, would you please stand for the pledge? The pledge is presented tonight by the Ricardo Estrada Middle School National Junior Honor Society.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one indivisible.
May be seated. Let's give Ricardo Estrada Middle School students a hand. Nice to have them part of our meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, the mission of the Clint Independent School District is to prepare all students to be successful citizens. The district will work in partnership with the community and the family to create opportunities for the students to maximize their personal potential. To begin our meeting tonight, it's that time of our meeting that we set aside for public forum. Do we have any participants tonight? Okay. In that case, then it's my pleasure to turn the meeting over to Dr. Martinez for the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Pendle, members of the board and audience. Very quickly, this is a time of the year in which our students are now in testing mode, unfortunately. Testing is not one of my favorite things, but testing is going on now from April 8th through May 2nd across the campuses. We would like to wish all of our students, our teachers, and everyone a successful school year in terms of testing. And then, of course, on Friday, I'd like to invite our community, also board, if you'd like to attend. We're hosting a robotics competition at Frank Macias from 4:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. And as you all know, we have a very strong robotics teams throughout the district, and we'd like to invite you over at this competition. And very important, please remember on Monday, April 14th, It is Clint ISD Purple Lab Day. It's a national holiday recognizing the sacrifice of military children that they make for our country. So please wear purple on April 14th. And we invite everybody across the district to honor our children and families of military families who do so much to keep our country safe and free. Mr. Pendel, that's all the announcements that I have at this time. Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Martinez. Any questions on the superintendent's report?
No, sir.
No, sir. Okay. All right, move on then to our first action item, but our first item tonight is a presentation. Recognition of the Clint ISD Rookie Teacher of the Year finalist. Dr. Martinez.
Thank you, Mr. Pendel, and members of the board again. At this time, I'd like to ask Ms. Jennifer Parker, Assistant Superintendent for Elementary, to please come up to the podium and present, do this presentation that we're very happy to see our teachers, rookie teachers here in the audience. So, Ms. Parker.
Good evening, President Pendel, Dr. Martinez, and members of the board. It is with immense pride and enthusiasm that we recognize the exceptional contribution of our Rookie Teachers of the Year. As you know, this is one tradition in Clint ISD that is very unique to us, and we're excited to showcase them today. These individuals, in their first year of teaching, have demonstrated remarkable dedication, passion, and effectiveness in shaping the lives of our students. They've brought fresh perspectives, innovative approaches, and an unwavering commitment to creating engaging and supportive learning environments. Their ability to connect with students, manage their classrooms effectively, and inspire a love for learning is truly commendable. These Rookie Teachers of the Year represent the bright future of our profession and our district, and they serve as an inspiration to both their colleagues and our entire school community. Their early success is a testament to their hard work, resilience, and the strong foundation provided by our mentoring programs and the support of our experienced staff. We now invite our school board and Dr. Martinez to join us at the front to honor these exemplary teachers who make such a difference. Our goal is at 70%. At this point in time, we have 51% of our students meeting that goal, making progress toward that goal. So typically you want to see the red line decrease, the yellow line decrease, and the green and the blue increase. In first grade, again, it does include both monolingual and dual language students. And so you do see in first grade an uptick in the red data, and I do believe that's because for the very first time our students are being assessed with reading accuracy, fluency, and that they have not had before. So the expectations for them are stronger and a little bit higher, and so we're seeing a little bit of that growth as the test gets harder. You see the red grow, but you still see the middle of the year at 52% with a goal at 75%. And you're going to see the breakdown for our dual language students specifically just for them in just 1 minute. Second grade, you still see a slight decline in the well below, but you see a increase in the blue. So if you can look at it, you'll see that while our green decreased a little bit, our blue definitely increased 3 percentage points. And so our yellow decreased, and then we had one slight decrease in the red, well below. So what teachers do is really want to focus on all the kids, but the supports for the red are very, very critical, but getting our yellows to move up into the green and blue is priority at this time. Then we have lectura, so it's specifically in Spanish. So then you see students who are testing in their language of strength for the most part. And you'll see here in kindergarten, we have 83% of our students meeting their goal already and surpassing that goal of the 70% in kindergarten. In first grade, 66%, so almost there, not too far to go between now and the end of the school year. And then second grade, we see a decline in the red, but still not where we need to be at the goal of 75%. Again, those assessments get a little bit more difficult. In second grade, we want our kids to be able to read as independently as possible, and so the assessment does get a little bit more difficult. But if you look at the blue increased, so you can tell that the green, while it decreased, those students probably most likely moved to the blue. And while your yellow increased, your red students likely moved up to the yellow. So there's progress there, and that's exactly what we want to make sure we're seeing.
Ms. Parker, before
Yes,
you
sir.
move on real quick, I just would have one question.
Okay.
I know that we evaluate students, we pull our little ones out individually. Is this an assessment that's done off of just the programs, or is this another form of individually taking them out and assessing them?
This is an individual assessment with a teacher or a testing group, a testing team. Mhm.
For our little ones?
Yeah, I know. Sometimes they'll pull them out, and sometimes they'll do it at a small group
Right.
table, one-on-one. So
Yeah,
they
and I
try
thought
to
that-
make it as.
And I honestly thought that's what it might be in the small group, in that little, to where they still kind of interact a little bit, but I didn't know if they were pulled out
Yeah, I
individually.
think it just depends on the environment at the time. They do have the liberty to bring them out into the hallway and
Right.
test them one-on-one where it's a little bit more quiet and kids can focus. But I see a lot of teachers who also do it at the back table. And then we have schools that have testing teams, and sometimes they go in just to make sure that, to adhere to the integrity of the assessment.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So our math data is also pre-K uses CLI Engage, and kindergarten through second grade is a different diagnostic with iReady. And I want to talk to you a little bit about iReady at the end of the presentation today. But our goals for our math is to make sure that our pre-K students are on track, ready for kindergarten. We want that to be at 74%. And for our second through fifth grade, kindergarten through second grade, we want 85% at approaches on or above grade level. So a combination of the three. So CLI Engage, as you can see here in English, we had 82% of our students meeting that goal and then surpassing that goal of 74%. So we're in good shape there. In Spanish, same thing, 82%, and the goal was 74%. So our pre-K teachers are rocking it. When you go to iReady, this has been something that we were able to purchase through our LASSO grant. We had some experience with it before that, but this has really been a great addition to our curriculum and instruction. It is integrated into our math block, our acceleration block. Kids are expected to complete 45 minutes of usage a week. And we do monitor that. Schools get a report every week on their usage report, because not only is that designed by the grant, but the reason why it's designed by the grant is because the research says if they're in this for that amount of time, you're going to see the growth happen. So we need to adhere to that assurance of the grant.
Is it also a 3-year?
The grant?
grant?
Yes. 2-year grant? I'm not really sure. Is it 2 years or?
I'm not sure if it's
Yeah.
2 or 3.
I think we're in year 2.
Yeah.
Mhm. So it covers the cost of it, which is really nice. But it also is a diagnostic assessment. What is great about this is it's also adaptive. So it assesses the student, and then it puts them in personalized instruction that gives them exactly what they need to proceed and grow in that area. So it tailors each student's skill and addresses their needs. The lessons are also very interactive, engaging. Kids like it, and we have a little competition on usage, so they get little characters at their school if they are the winners. It also has a progress monitoring piece, but what I really like, and it has real-time data reports, but what I really like about this is it also has lesson plans for the teachers. So it can tell you exactly where the child is needing support, and then it will give them the lesson to do with that child in that small group instruction. So it's all aligned. I think about it like you practice like you play, right? So with iReady, they're practicing their 45-minute usage, they get assessed, then that assessment doesn't look different. It looks like how they've been practicing, and then we're starting to see the instructional strategies that the teachers are using in the classroom, their lesson plans aligned to it as well. I think that's what makes this the success that we've had with iReady. So the charts look a little bit different. They're vertical, and so you'll see here that the red stands for 3 or more grade levels below. The pink is 2 grade levels below. Yellow is 1 grade level below, which we are equating to the approaches level on STAR. The green is early on grade level, and then the dark green is mid or above grade level. So typically you want to see that red decrease Sometimes the yellow will increase before the green does, but definitely you want to see that yellow and green at the majority of your data being high, especially the green. So this is how we fell by grade level. In kindergarten, you don't see any red, and that's because you can't be 3 grade levels or below, or 2 grade levels below in kindergarten. So you see that 91% are at least 1 grade level below when they came in. So you're looking at maybe our pre-K students or students that did not come to us or did not go to pre-K, and then we were at 9% in the green. But by mid-year, we were at 31% in the green and 69% in the yellow. So the growth is definitely happening. You can look at the same chart in first grade. Green, yellow is decreasing, red is decreasing, and the green is increasing. Same with second grade. In third grade, you'll see that, and I can't see this slide is, can you see the middle of the year goal? Because mine's chopped off. It's chopped off too. So kindergarten met their goal. Everybody has met their goal. Now, when we look at third grade, we want to make sure that they've either met the goal or surpassed it. But in third grade, remember, we're looking at 60% in the meets category on STAR. And so I pulled a little bit of data, and last year we were at, in math, we were at 24.86% on the meets category in STAR math. This year on the interim, we're at 35.88%. In reading, we were at 31%, and so far this year on the interim, we're at 38.7%. So the increases are occurring. So changes to next year. What we're finding with MClass, while it's a perfectly fine assessment, the alignment that we find with the iReady with math makes more sense to do also with reading. And so as a district, we've decided to continue to purchase the iReady reading, but this year we're going to make sure that this is the data that we're following for the diagnostic and for the board goals. So you'll see iReady reading and iReady math next school year. And then of course the ultimate goal is just to make sure that we're at the 60% meets mark at third grade. Remember the 90-60-30 rule to get an A as a school district? That 60%, that's where we get the 60% for the meets category. So that continues to be our goal, and as you can see, we're making strides to get there. And I think that with the consistency of iReady next year, you're going to start to really see those gains in the reading as well. And that completes my presentation. Any other questions?
Are there any questions for Ms. Parker?
No, sir.
Thank you for that very informative
Thank you very much.
report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's move on to the administrative section of the agenda. Would anybody like to discuss any of the administrative reports?
President Bendo, I just had a quick question regarding the hiring reports. I think this might be a question for either Mr. Chavez or for Mr. Littlejohn. I had noticed that we had a number of employees hired in the either in the SPED department or working as a special education teacher. I'm just wondering if you guys could speak to, I guess, the district being proactive about making sure we don't have vacancies in those positions and planning ahead as we receive new students every year receiving special education services.
Jump in, Renee. Mr. Gardea, thank you for the question. Mr. Pindell, Dr. Martinez, members of the board, what we've been doing is every week or so, or every 2 weeks, we've been having the special education department bring us the new students who are qualifying from the assessments and enrolling in the district. This year, we've added almost 200 new students who are receiving special education services. And so we've been monitoring that monthly with the evaluations. Was something Mr. Chavez asked the SPED department to bring to cabinet. And then from there, we've been working with Dr. Klein, because as you receive additional students receiving special education services, we get more funding for those students. Right. So that enabled us to project the teachers we would need to get ahead of that and stay ahead of that. And then we reached out to our good buddy, Dr. Holder, and she had written an amendment to the TSL grant to carry over, and she actually provided us with 16 slots for $10,000 this year. So we've been able to pretty much fill all of our SPED vacancies we had and new positions that we added due to the enrollment and or testing and stay ahead of it. And so that's a practice we're going to continue, is every couple of weeks in cabinet, we review all of the numbers, we review the referrals, and we review the need for a teacher, and then we prepare for it and try to continue to just stay ahead of the curve. That also includes the support staff, like a diagnostician or SLP, the same process we're using there to see the loads that everyone has, so that we're making sure the services are provided. And so Dr. Holder with the 10,000, Dr. Klein looking at the finances, Mr. Chavez thinking ahead of as the enrollments are coming in, and then of course our SPED director, Ms. Martinez, keeping those numbers updated for us. It's been a collaborative effort to just stay one step ahead of ensuring our students receive the best special education program in the region.
We're also including the special ed department in all of our staffing meetings with principals, because they provide us the potential numbers that we're looking at.
Yep.
Yes. I can say we've looked at some of the data, and we do have about 50 students from a neighboring district who receive special education services that came to us. So all of those increase in students, while our overall population has not increased, that special education population has increased.
Okay. Well, no, thank you all. Like, I guess my concern, and you guys are meeting this every day, being sure that the district is ready to receive these students so that they can receive the services that they need. But thank you, guys.
You're welcome. Thank
And
you.
just to add, I know that we just recently got the report for special ed, and I think a lot of the success now is because you guys are staying on top of that, so that's greatly appreciated.
Yes.
Because I know at some point we were struggling to meet the needs of the services,
Yes.
getting met, but now with meeting weekly, I'm sure that's a huge impact, so thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. And we have more students in the least restrictive setting too. Not only are we making sure we have our unit teachers, but we're having more of our co-taught and our inclusion classes with those supports for our students. And so it's not only just the settings, it's the least inclusive, restrictive setting, and more inclusive setting.
I have no further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Littlejohn.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. Any other questions on the administrative reports?
No, sir.
Okay. Move on then to consent agenda. Would any member like to discuss an item on the consent agenda at this time?
No, sir.
If not, is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. Is there any discussion?
No, sir.
And all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. The ayes have it, motion carries. Consent agenda is approved. Our first action item, approval to adopt the 2025-26 school year mathematics curriculum materials.
Thank you, Mr. Pendle, members of the board. Mr. Littlejohn again will present this item and the next one and the next one. So we'll keep him there.
Busy man tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Martinez, Mr. Pindell, members of the board. As Dr. Martinez said, the next three kind of walk hand in hand together. Working with Ms. Cantu, Ms. Parker, and the team, I have a short presentation that'll kind of outline the math curriculum, then I'll hold for questions, and then we'll jump into the social studies. I'm very pleased to announce that we did receive the Online Texas Social Studies Grant, which is a $300,000 grant for 2 years to implement social studies curriculum. And so we were one of 20 districts out of the state to receive that grant. And so it's nice because it'll cover all of our curriculum in secondary social studies for a 2-year period. So we're gonna approve that one plus the math, and then overall the TEKS certification form. So I'll break down each one. So even though I know you guys have been, you may all have been hearing about Bluebonnet Learning and the shift in Texas for Bluebonnet Learning, we actually we did this kind of backwards, but sometimes it's okay, we did it backwards. So we have been working all year on our math framework and our Strong Foundations curriculum. We received a grant to help us write that curriculum, and this is a poster that is going to end up being in every classroom next year in Clint ISD, and all of our math instruction is going to be centered on these 4 areas, research-based instructional strategies. So we wrote our framework for math, and the Bluebonnet curriculum is going to assist us with keeping that alignment with our framework. So Ms. Cantu has done a really good job with the math team to identify areas and build the Strong Foundations math framework. We had already done the literacy, now we've complemented it with the math, and everything we do builds off this framework. So that being said, in 2022, 2021, 2022, we piloted Eureka. It was part of the T-class grant from the state after COVID. And so in various pockets, we piloted Eureka Math at the elementaries with a small group of teachers, which is what we have been using for the last 3 years. In 2022, 2023, we added more teachers and we piloted using Eureka Math for elementary and Carnegie for secondary. In 2023-24, we continued on that, and for part of this time frame, we received grant funds to purchase the curriculum from the state of Texas, from the T-class grants. In 2024-25, we entered into our third year of using this curriculum, and so all of our teachers have been very well versed, prepped in the curriculum, and it builds off of each other. And so the Eureka curriculum is in alignment with the Carnegie curriculum, and we've been seeing the alignment. I even think you could see it on our early literacy and math totals. The math was higher, and I do believe it's because of the alignment between the curriculum. So fast forward to this year, 25-26, the state of Texas partnered with Eureka and Carnegie, and they developed a Texas version of both of these curriculums. So Eureka's a national product, Carnegie's a national product. So they got together with the state of Texas and the State Board of Education, and they designed a product using the foundation of Eureka, the foundation of Carnegie, and they named it Bluebonnet. And so during all of the last 3 or 4 years, they have been refining Bluebonnet math from these two products. So if you're a teacher in Clint ISD and you've used Eureka for the last 3 years, and you pick up Bluebonnet math for 3rd grade, it is going to look almost the exact same. The difference is that it's aligned to Texas. It has standards that are national standards that are not Texas standards removed. And I learned yesterday that the assessments in the new Bluebonnet math are aligned to the STAR questions. They're actually the same stems and the same vocabulary and very much aligned with the STAR questions because, again, it's developed for Texas. So the state of Texas has done that with partnering with Eureka and Carnegie to make this product called Bluebonnet Math. And so Clint ISD is looking to now shift from Eureka and Carnegie into Bluebonnet. And we've done a number of activities to make sure that our teachers are prepared for that. Again, if you left for a year and came back and didn't know it changed, you would probably pick it up and say, oh, it's just packaged different. It's the same thing. The lessons are the same. The modules look the same. There are subtle changes. There's more vocabulary. There's more pictures. There's even more supports for our bilingual students and our special education students. So it's in essence the same curriculum. It's just been Texasized. So throughout the month of March and April, we met with every single math teacher in Clint ISD. Ms. Cantu's team, Ms. Parker's team, and my team, we sat in on every teacher at every campus and touched base with every math teacher to show them how Eureka at the elementary or Carnegie at the secondary would now look in Bluebonnet. And overwhelmingly, the faculty was, oh, okay, it looks the same. It's actually better. We like this, we like that. And so we were very thorough in making sure that everyone got to see it and give us feedback. I'm going to run through really quickly. We did surveys. We had 205 teachers answer. 86% of them said it's very similar. It's just little changes here or there. It really depends on the grade level. 7th grade in the middle school probably has the most changes. Is it 1st and 3rd grade that had the most at elementary? But Algebra 1 is virtually unchanged. If you're an Algebra 1 teacher, you're not even probably going to notice it. You're just going to notice a Bluebonnet on the cover of the math book. So they did feel, and then 13% said it was somewhat familiar. And of course, it's all in the context. If you've been using it for 3 years, you're probably going to think it's very familiar. If it was your first year on it, you may answer somewhat familiar. But overall, the teachers said it's not much different. And actually, we don't want to change after 3 years of prepping and training and success. We don't want to start over with a different math curriculum. So overall, is it aligned to the TEKS? 48% said it is very aligned to the TEKS, and another 42% said it is highly aligned to the TEKS. And then 3 were kind of in between. And again, it takes the context. If it's a new teacher and they don't know all the TEKS, they might not answer. But you'll see that there was no one answering that it's not aligned to the TEKS. Matter of fact, yesterday we had the math committee here and we were reviewing things and they were telling us, this unit's gone and this one's here now and this one's there, and they were talking to each other about the changes in the curriculum and the pluses about it. We also asked on a scale of how comfortable were they, and 49% said they were extremely comfortable, 38% said they were comfortable, and 3 said they were, on the 3 rating, 11% said they were somewhat comfortable or neutral. And again, thinking of the context, out of our 205 math teachers. So we also didn't leave it to chance. We also had review sessions for the parents. We didn't have great turnout, but here's a posting that we put on social media, we put on the website, we did call-outs. We had sessions at the high schools on the March 24th, March 25th, and March 26th. We had all of the curriculums printed, we had teachers there, we had our staff there, and any parent that showed up, we showed them the Bluebonnet curriculum. And yesterday, we brought the math committee together that you approved last month, and we did a final review. We asked questions, we let them talk with each other, we had our parents here, and at the end of that meeting, we did make a recommendation to approve Bluebonnet curriculum, and it was unanimous that we approve it to bring to the board. We also took it to the site-based meeting yesterday, and the site-based committee reviewed Bluebonnet and recommended that we go ahead and approve the recommendation to the board. And so, background on all of that, the chart on the actual agenda item has the grade levels for Bluebonnet. You'll notice that 6th and 7th grade advanced math still says Carnegie. That's because the state and Bluebonnet have not developed those 2 classes yet. They should come next year. And then you'll notice that the high school, Algebra 2 and Geometry, are still under Carnegie. They're developing those for next year as well. So the agenda item is to approve Bluebonnet math, only math, for next year and on until we bring a change to you as presented for those grade levels and those configurations.
Sir, I just have one quick question in the connection to iReady. iReady is more of a program to continue developing, just an outside program.
It complements Bluebonnet.
Did we take advantage in the middle schools to use iReady? Because I know iReady is offered in elementary and middle.
So they have Mathia, and it complements Carnegie.
Our middle schools have Mathia?
Yes, sir.
And I was
high
just saying,
schools
because
too.
we had the 3-year grant.
Yes.
And we're seeing such good results, I thought it would be an easy transition for them to stay with iReady up in the middle school.
So
but we're using Mathia?
Right. So Mathia is built by Carnegie, and it complements the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade curriculum in Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and Geometry. We also received a grant for Mathia, and so we've had it last year as part of the grant for free, and we just were notified today that they extended that grant for next year as well. So Mathia, if a teacher's doing a lesson in Carnegie, there are Mathia counterparts just like iReady.
Okay, would iReady, once that, if we get, since I thought it was gonna end this year, the Mathia, if we do extend it for the year, that would be awesome, especially since it's connected to Carnegie.
Yes.
But if not, would we be able to utilize iReady after that, the grant that they're offering?
I really feel, in my expert opinion, that the Mathia is much more aligned with the secondary curriculum. I have not looked at iReady in detail, but I know that the teachers really like Mathia and they're using it. As part of the grant, Mr. Cruz, we had to send administrative reports in, and we met every target double.
Okay.
And so it is very intuitive. It does the same thing iReady does, but it is from the publisher of Carnegie.
Right, and I can see the connection there. I just thought the way it adapts to different students and their development, and then
Mathia
present the
does the
lessons.
same.
Does the
Mathia
same.
does exactly the same.
Okay.
The teacher can either assign a unit or it can adapt for the student as they complete the assessments in Mathia.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. It is a very robust program. I'm very pleased with it. When you have teachers at the high school using it because they see the value in it, you know high school teachers usually drag their feet on
Yeah,
stuff
and I
like
guess
that.
in this case, it's more the elementary connecting to the middle, but you're saying the connection of middle to the high school.
So, yes,
Continues.
and,
Okay.
but also understand, and jump in, Ms. Cantu, if I, Eureka, Carnegie, I-Ready, Mathia, all together are all linked. They all collaborated together to align
With the
their curriculum.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you. I just wanted a little.
You're welcome. Yeah, we do have that counterpart for math at the secondary. And actually, I think our Mathia, I think the reason we received the carryover on the grant was because of our usage. It's very high.
Okay. And I'm not questioning the actual Mathia. I'm just, you know, in my experience in education, I just know that the continuation of elementary to middle in that
Yeah.
same program just makes the
Yes.
kids even stronger and stronger. So I
Yes,
just
sir.
thought, let's utilize I-Ready and use it at the middle school.
And these are very nicely aligned. The difference too with Mathia is it's more middle school appropriate, high school appropriate with the graphics, and the I-Ready has more cartoon characters and things. The Mathia is more video, and it's more age appropriate for middle school and high school. Not
Okay.
that I-Ready is not, but I know the draw with our teachers has been that it doesn't feel like a little kid software.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
No, sir.
Do we have a motion?
President Bendel, a motion to approve to adopt the 2025-2026 school year mathematics curriculum materials as presented.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the 2025-26 school year mathematics Bluebonnet math as presented. Is there any discussion?
No, sir.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. The ayes have it, motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Pindle.
Thank you, Mr. Littlejohn. Next item, we have approval to adopt the 2025-20 through 27 secondary social studies curriculum materials. Mr. Littlejohn.
Dr. Martinez, Mr. Pindle, members of the board. We're very pleased that during the month of February, I actually don't remember writing the grant with Jose Ramirez, our social studies coordinator. It was so hurried and rushed, and it was a busy month, but we submitted it on time, and we received the grant. So it was open up to all districts in Texas, and as I said, there was 20 available grants, and we were one of the 20. So it is a $300,000 grant. It was only for 6th through 12th grade. It was not an elementary grant. And what's really nice about this is we had to put goals in that grant. We've worked really hard on our social studies this year, both the elementary level and the secondary. Our scores last year had dropped some on that, and we've really worked to increase that, and our data showing that the students are really improving on social studies. So this grant will help us. We have not had a social studies curriculum since 2022, 2023, because the state has not adopted one yet. So this will help us bring in a new curriculum. We've been adding supplemental curriculum and things to social studies, but this now will help us to add a curriculum for the secondaries. And if you remember, we test 8th grade social studies and high school U.S. history, so we needed something stronger for those 2 grade levels.
I
And
was
so
about to say, it's surprising that we didn't have anything. They're tested on it.
we did, it's just we were relying on products that we felt could help us. This was guided by the state in the grant. And so we had more guidelines, because we really don't know, Mr. Cruz, what they're going to do with the textbook adoption. And it's not till 2027, 2028. So we saw this grant and we jumped on it. So the grant was written to support reading for our reading and writing and social studies together. And so the goals in there are to increase our students' social studies skills, and also to help our teachers differentiate better. The curriculum has different ways to teach different groups in social studies, which we really liked. So I'm going to give you just some quick highlights of that grant, the curriculum. We chose the Newsella curriculum, and we were strategic. We looked at the grant for cycle 1, and about half or more than half of the districts that chose Newsella received the grant. And this year, I went back and looked, and out of the 20, 16 of them used Newsella for their grant submission, and all 16 of those received the grant out of 20. So we looked back at what the data was telling us, and this particular curriculum had a very high track record of meeting the grant requirements. And so we chose that curriculum. Our team vetted it very carefully. It is very robust. It has AI features in it that you can turn on and off. Students can type an essay on a topic and it'll grade it for them, or it'll tell them you're missing this part or you're missing that. The teacher has a lot of flexibility with that. Of course, it's always a feature a teacher could turn off because we don't want the kids to have access to all that all the time, but it is very robust. It has a lot of online videos and articles. There's, for example, in U.S. history, world history, there's articles about Ukraine that have just been added last month. So it's very intuitive, very real, just in time, and we're very pleased with that. So with the curriculum, we get all of the social studies curriculum aligned to the TEKS. We get writing, which will help them to answer the short responses or the constructed responses that are on the STAR test, and it'll grade and score them, and there's pre-made ones in there, or the teachers can create their own. And then it has formative, where you can assign quizzes, essays, different types of assessments that it'll grade itself for you if you want to, or you can also have students complete it and it'll summarize, like, these students missed this, these students got this, and so it's a very robust online system. And again, I said, out of the 20 districts, 16 used this same one, including Clint, and on the first round, it was almost 60% as well used Newsela. So we looked at that one first. We looked at other curriculums, but this one met all the grant requirements. Specifically, we're going to target 7th, 8th, and U.S. history, but we are going to purchase it for all secondary social studies classes. The grant only requires us to have these 3, but with the grant funds, we can cover all social studies classes for 2 years. The TEKS are very aligned. If you've ever taught Texas history, it is very hard to find resources. There's not a lot out there. National publishers don't really publish things for Texas history, but there's a lot of U.S. history, so the Newsela curriculum is very robust for Texas history. There's monitoring tools, real-time analytics, quizzes and annotations. It'll tell you reading levels. You can change it to English and then to Spanish. You can change the level if a student who receives special education services needs a 6th grade instead of an 8th grade level. You can change the system and it will change the passage to an 8th grade level. It also has a whole writing portion that will be aligned to what we're doing in ELAR. So we were just thoroughly impressed with it. It has hundreds and, yes ma'am?
Sorry. I could see it's very user-friendly,
Mm-hmm.
and it could practically hold your hand, but is it also challenging them to think on their own?
Oh, yes, ma'am, very, very much so. The writing portion and those open-ended questions are not just short answer or a one-word response. It's analyze, tell the differences between. It is very challenging, yes. That was one of the grant requirements, is that it had to challenge students and have them analyze and think. And so the software does have that. And it is truly an online curriculum. There's online stories, there's online video components, there's online maps. All of it is online, and then there are some print versions too. But yes, yes, ma'am.
I think you had me sold on the fact that we're using it in the other grade levels also, because it's a writing and reading,
Yes, yes. I think our
tool.
ELAR coordinators were the most
Right.
excited
They're-
about it
they
at the
must
middle
be,
school and
'cause
high
if it's
school.
still hitting those areas, then we're
Yes,
doing
yes.
good.
So there are a ton of video components in there, and you can put closed caption, you can read it on the bottom with headphones. It has all the supports. They can click on vocabulary, it'll blow up pictures. It's very robust. There's a ton of video content, and it's updated routinely. As something new comes up, especially in classes where you have current events, it pops up almost instantaneously. And also the writing is pretty robust. And I did a real quick screen capture that you can see, there's courses, and then in the course there's primary sources. And again, without logging in and looking at all of it, I'm just showing you some quick highlights. Then it has where the teacher can select the reading pieces on grade level, and then connect to, like, all of that in that little pink box on the right is all about Ukraine. just recent articles and things on Ukraine. And so looking at it with our social studies team, Mr. Ramirez, who is very, very well versed, he knows the content up one
He's
side
a
and down
head
the
honcho
other.
on social studies.
And he was, when he saw it, he was showing everybody, and they were like, "Can we get it for science and math?" And I'm like, wait, we got Blue Bonnet for math. We're good, guys. But it's very robust. I was very pleased. By the way, I'm a social studies person too. That's my certification. So
Oh, wow.
when I saw it, I was very pleased with it. So our recommendation, and of course, we received the grant to implement this program, but we always have to take curriculum to the board. So our recommendation is to approve kind of the grant award and the curriculum in the same agenda item.
First of all, I'd just like to say congratulations again. Well, there's over 1,200 school districts in Texas, and to get be 20 of them, that's pretty good. So
Thank you, Mr.
congratulations to
Pindle. A
everybody
couple
who
of
worked hard
our
on it.
neighbors applied and they didn't receive it.
And I'm sure Mr. Ramirez will be excited too.
Oh, he's very excited. The one thing I did not share with you, part of the grant also includes extra duty pay, sub-cost, and professional development from Newsella to come in and train all of our social studies teachers. So our intent is that before we start the school year, they're ready to go. They already know the curriculum, they have access, they can start. Mr. Ramirez has already updated all the pacing guides to reflect the Newsella curriculum. So we have already, that's part of the grant, so we'll be able to pay our teachers to be onboarded, and by the first day of school, they can start using the curriculum. That's good.
Questions?
No, sir.
Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the Newsella Social Studies curriculum as presented, and to, what is the correct terminology for the grant? To approve the grant as well, or?
Mainly the curriculum, but
Curriculum, okay. Okay, as presented. Is there any discussion?
No, sir.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Ayes have it, motion carries.
thank you all.
Last item, approval to certify the instructional materials allotment and Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills Certification Form for 2025-26. But before we start the presentation, can we make for the record that Claudia came in at, I believe at about, okay, good. Just want to make sure. Okay, Mr. Littlejohn.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Pindell. Dr. Martinez, members of the board. The TEAC certification form used to be 1 page. Now it's 26 pages. And we have to go through and denote every grade level, every content area of what we are going to be using in Clint ISD before we can order any textbooks. This document has to be submitted to TEA before we can order anything. I made sure that Ms. Oropesa added it at the end because we can't approve this until you approve the math curriculum and then the social studies curriculum. So I said, please make sure we include it after the other two. So the document is 26 pages. I apologize, we didn't get the right one to you, but the right one was presented to you today. We did update a couple more supplemental materials in there, but we have to basically list every single piece of curriculum we're going to use for the next school year by level. This document has been double-checked and it is ready to go. Once we recommend, and if you so choose to approve, then we will submit it to TEA, and that will start the process of allowing us to order all the books that we need to order for the next school year. So we do recommend approval of the certification as presented.
My only question for this, sir, just one, is are all districts following this, or are we?
We have to. The
Right,
state.
The same one?
Yes, when
Okay.
you will log into the EMAT system, it says certification form received and the date. If you don't have this, it will not let you order.
Okay.
And so the system is closed right now for the swapping of the 2 years. It opens May 15th, but we want to make sure that on May 15th, we can put all of our orders in.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, comments?
No, sir.
Okay. Do we have motion to approve?
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the certify the instructional materials allotment and Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills Certification Form for 2025-2026 as presented. Is there any discussion?
No, sir.
Not. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. The ayes have it, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Littlejohn.
Mr. Littlejohn, if you can just stay for a second. I forgot to mention, going back to item 1, I think the board needs to know, the reason we also moved into the Blue Bonnet curriculum is funding. So tell us about the funding.
So the state of Texas has now taken our IMA funding, and they've made 3 buckets out of it. We used to get just 1 big bucket. The first bucket we receive is a per pupil allocation, and we also get money for our bilingual students in that allocation. With that first bucket, you can buy anything you want, as long as it's aligned to TEKS and it's been specified on this form. And so in the years past, we've bought everything from dual credit books to math, science, social studies, everything. But this past year, the state divvied that up into 3 buckets. So we get our regular allocation, but now if we are a Bluebonnet district, we get a second bucket for Bluebonnet curriculum. And then we get a 3rd bucket to print the Bluebonnet curriculum. So if we have adopted Bluebonnet, we can utilize those 2 other buckets of funding from TEA, from the state. If you don't purchase Bluebonnet, it has to sit there in your funding and you can't utilize it. And so we have chosen to look at Bluebonnet, one, because it's aligned to what we're doing with the curriculum, but also we received about $450,000 this year to purchase the Bluebonnet program for math. We could have also purchased reading or one or the other or both, but we felt that our program has been so aligned with Eureka and Carnegie that it was a natural progression, but we're also able to utilize that $450,000 or $40 a student for Bluebonnet curriculum, which now frees up the other first bucket for other needs. And then the print bucket is $20 per child to buy the print copies. So in essence, we got $60 a child to implement the Bluebonnet curriculum, which we were already implementing through Carnegie and Eureka already.
Good.
Thank you.
Very good.
Yeah, thank you.
So it was almost $1 million we received in IMA funding this year.
Fantastic.
Oh, wow.
Great job, everybody.
And then when you
Yeah,
add,
that's
I'm
good.
sorry to, but when you add the $300,000 from the social studies, we're very set this next year for our textbooks.
Awesome.
So thank you all for your support.
Thank you, sir. Exciting.
Okay. so
Motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Opposed, say no. We stand adjourned at 7:11. Have a good commercial.